Space might look like an empty void, but the rocks floating around out there carry secrets that are anything but ordinary. Scientists have cracked open asteroid samples only to find things that seem impossible. We're talking about ancient molecules that shouldn't exist, strange magnetic anomalies, and even potential evidence for the earliest stirrings of life. Tonight we're diving into real discoveries that scientists pulled from asteroid samples, and each one of them is more unsettling than the last. The first disturbing find comes from Japan's Hayabusa 2 mission to asteroid Ryugu. In 2019, the spacecraft successfully touched down on this pitch-black, diamond-shaped rock and scooped up tiny grains of its surface before returning them to Earth. When the samples were opened in 2022, scientists expected to find nothing more than dust and fragments of rock. Instead, however, they were stunned. Inside the asteroid dust were amino acids, the literal building blocks of proteins and the foundation of all known life. What made this discovery shocking is that these amino acids had formed naturally in space without any biological activity involved. That means the recipe for life doesn't require a planet at all. It can happen on drifting rocks bombarded by cosmic radiation. To put it into perspective, if amino acids are so easily made in space, they could be scattered all over the universe. Every asteroid, every comet, every dust cloud could be a little factory producing the ingredients for life. The same samples from Ryugu contained another revelation that unsettled scientists even more. While examining the tiny particles under advanced microscopes, researchers spotted something unusual: droplets of liquid water trapped inside mineral grains. Not frozen ice, which we've seen before on comets, but actual liquid water preserved for billions of years. This was terrifying to scientists because it provided direct proof that asteroids may have been the delivery system for Earth's oceans. But the story takes an even stranger turn. When they studied the chemistry of the droplets, they found the water wasn't identical to what we drink on Earth. Its composition was slightly off. Almost alien, if you will. That suggested that multiple flavors of water were delivered to early Earth from different extraterrestrial sources. In other words, the oceans covering our planet may be a strange cocktail of cosmic water, each batch coming from a different asteroid or comet. That realization raises an eerie question. If life began in this mixed ocean, are we the product of a recipe that could have turned out differently if other asteroids had hit us instead? Some asteroid samples contained something that should not even exist anymore: dust grains older than the sun itself. These tiny particles, known as pre-solar grains, were identified in meteorites linked to asteroids. Scientists dated them and found out that they had formed in the outflows of ancient dying stars billions of years before our solar system was born. To hold them in your hand is like holding time itself. Fragments of alien stars that lived and died before Earth was ever even imagined. What makes this discovery disturbing is the grain's survival. These tiny specks endured cosmic radiation, collisions, and the chaotic birth of our solar system, yet somehow made it into asteroid material that eventually found its way to us. They are older than the Earth, older than our sun, and older than every planet in the solar system. When NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission finally returned samples from asteroid Bennu in 2023, scientists began analyzing the tiny fragments under sensitive instruments. What they discovered shocked them. Some of the minerals contained magnetic signatures that didn't match Earth, the Moon, or even the expected fields from our solar system. These signatures were frozen in place billions of years ago, meaning the rocks were once exposed to magnetic environments we don't fully understand. The disturbing part is that Bennu shouldn't have had a magnetic field strong enough to cause this effect on its own. That left scientists wondering what cosmic forces the asteroid had once once encountered. Was Bennu part of a much larger parent body with an active magnetic core? Or did it travel through regions of space where strange, powerful magnetic fields existed?
In our number 5 spot today, we have 99942 Apophis. This little asteroid has a diameter of about a fifth of a mile, and it is currently sitting at number 3 on the Palermo scale. The Palermo Technical Impact Scale is a scale that is used by astronomers to rate the potential risk and hazard of impact of a near-Earth object, or an NEO. It used the combined information and data of the probability of impact coupled with the estimated kinetic yield, which basically just shows like how likely and how badly an asteroid would mess us up. So back to Apophis. This asteroid is at rank number 3, so it's the third thing we gotta worry about. When it was discovered in 2004, astronomers gave it a 1 in 6 chance of striking Earth in May of 2029 on Friday the 13th of all days. If it doesn't strike Earth, with the naked eye we'll be able to see it pass at a distance of roughly 18,600 miles, but if it does strike Earth, we'll also be able to see it with the naked eye, just at a much closer distance. Because of how close this passing asteroid is going to be, if the asteroid passes us at a slightly different angle than current predictions, there is the possibility of a collision in 2036 or 2069. In our number 4 spot today, we have 4183 Kuno. This asteroid measures about 4 kilometers in diameter and was first discovered in June of 1959 by German astronomer Kuno Hofmeister. This asteroid orbits the Sun at a distance of about 0.7 astronomical units once every 2 years and 9 months, or 1019 days. This asteroid is about 11 lunar distances from Earth on its closest approaches, which is what landed it the title of a near-Earth object and a potentially hazardous asteroid. In the 21st century alone, this asteroid has made close approaches to Earth within 40 million kilometers 6 different times. The most recent close approach was in May of 2012 when it came within a distance of 0.122 AU, and the next closest approach will come in 2093 when it is said to pass at 0.084 AU. In our number 3 spot today, we have 2020 CD3. In February of 2020, astronomers found 2020 CD3, which is a tiny near-Earth asteroid or mini-moon that orbits the Sun, but it does make really close approaches to our Earth-Moon system, and it can even temporarily enter Earth's orbit. It is the second temporary satellite of Earth discovered in situ. Based on its trajectory, this asteroid was captured by Earth around 2016 or 2017, but it likely escaped the gravitational influence of Earth around May of 2020. Even the asteroid didn't want to stick around for the pandemic. This asteroid is likely to make another close pass at Earth in 2044, but it hopefully won't be captured by Earth this time because of its greater approach distance. While this little thing is flying through space and it makes its nice little frequent visits to us, the good news is that it is relatively small in terms of asteroids, so it's not like an imminent threat to humanity. Yet. In our number 2 spot today, we have 2010 RF12. This asteroid is one that orbits the Sun every 399 days or 1.09 years, and at its closest point, its orbit is startlingly close to Earth's. When this asteroid was first observed, it was actually thought to have the highest probability of striking Earth, but thankfully that number has since dropped in the last few years. Just recently, however, this asteroid had one close approach, with Earth passing at a distance of a little over 10 million kilometers. From now until 2095, there is thought to be 13 upcoming close approaches, with the final one being at the very small distance of just 47,000 kilometers. Thankfully, the good news is that this asteroid is on the smaller size when it comes to asteroids, which means that should something go awry and this asteroid were to impact Earth, it likely wouldn't be like the humanity-ending, destroying asteroid that we all fear. In our number 1 spot today, we have 153814, or 2001 WN5. This asteroid is classified as a small asteroid, but that does not mean this thing is harmless. Asteroid 2001 WN5 has an orbit that passes that of Earth, making it a near-Earth asteroid, but it is also a potentially hazardous one because of just how close it can get. This asteroid orbits the Sun every 818 days or 2.24 years, and it gets as far away from the Sun as 2.51 astronomical units. Like I mentioned, this guy is classified as a small asteroid, but with a diameter of 0.9 kilometers, it is larger than about 97% of other small asteroids. It is said to be about the size of the Golden Gate Bridge, which is just insane to think about. The pass by Earth that this asteroid is going to make that is concerning to scientists is going to happen on June 26, 2028. Right now it is projected to be passing at a distance of 248,700 kilometers, but when we're talking about a flying space object, that's just a little too close. It is said that during this close approach, the asteroid will be visible with just binoculars. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have 3122 Florence. This asteroid is stony, it's approximately 5 kilometers in diameter, and it even has 2 of its very own moons. This asteroid was first discovered on March 2nd, 1981 by American astronomer Shelt J. Buss, and it was named in honor of Florence Nightingale. The reason Florence is considered a potentially hazardous object is because of the fact that it has made and will continue to make close approaches to Earth, and because the measurements of it suggest that it is large enough to cause some serious damage should we end up colliding. On September 1st, 2017, Florence passed us at a distance of 0.047237 astronomical units, approximately 18 times the average distance of the moon. That might seem far, but it truly is getting a little too close for comfort. This was the closest approach the asteroid had to Earth since 1890, and the next approach is coming up on September 2nd, 2057. In our number 9 spot today, we have 2021 QM1. This asteroid was first discovered on August 28, 2021, and at the time of its discovery, it wasn't of much concern. Follow-up observations, however, revealed something very different. It suddenly rang alarm bells that it might be on a path to a near miss with Earth around 2052. This asteroid is measured at about 50 meters in diameter, which is said to, should it impact Earth, be the equivalent of about 6 megatons of TNT, or 400 times the strength of a nuclear bomb. Just not good and very obviously of concern. To make all the nervous scientists more nervous, shortly after discovery, this asteroid disappeared behind the sun out of their view. They waited patiently and used the very large telescope as much as they could, and when the asteroid peeked out from behind the sun, they were ready, and it was then that they managed to capture an image of the faintest asteroid ever observed. This observation thankfully gave them some very good news. This asteroid likely won't hit Earth in 2052, and for now, for the foreseeable future, it shouldn't be on a collision course with Earth. They, however, of course, are going to continue observing it and checking in, just to make sure that continues to be the case. In our number 8 spot today, we have 1997 XF11. We all know, or at least have heard, that the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid hitting Earth. If an asteroid were to hit Earth now, there is a good chance it would have a similar effect, but this time, on us. There have been dozens of asteroids that have nearly missed Earth, and a lot of them have been known and had their paths calculated beforehand to ensure our safety, but there have also been a lot of near misses that weren't seen until right before, or sometimes even after, the asteroid had already passed. There was 5 near misses in 2020 alone. In 2028, this asteroid will come extremely close to hitting Earth, but as of right now, scientists believe that it will hopefully miss the planet. If this asteroid were to hit Earth, it would be a mile-wide asteroid hitting Earth at about 30,000 miles per hour, which is similar to a 1 million megaton bomb, which would most likely wipe out most of all of the life on Earth. Hope that doesn't happen, or maybe Elon Musk can send us to Mars by 2028, if he's not too busy with Twitter Blue. In our number 7 spot today, we have 2022 AE1. Earlier this year in January, as the year began, scientists were watching an asteroid dubbed 2022 AE1 that became the riskiest one observed in over a decade. The initial observations of this asteroid placed it impacting with Earth on roughly July 4th, 2023, which would mean that there would not be enough time to deflect it, and this asteroid was large enough to do some real damage should it strike an area. Yeah, definitely a cause for concern, and also like right before my next birthday, I'd be pissed. There was a week where the moon outshone this asteroid, and so experts weren't able to see it and continued tracking the path that it should be on, but once the moon was out of this phase, the risk seemed to have diminished. As of now, this asteroid has been taken off the risk list, but who knows? It seems as though things can change quite quickly and unexpectedly outside the cozy home and protection of our atmosphere. In our number 6 spot today, we have 4179 Taudatus. This elongated stony asteroid is a slow rotator, but that does does not mean it is no cause for concern. Depending on how long you've been on the internet, you might actually be kind of familiar with this asteroid, considering it was the focus of a 2004 email chain that falsely claimed that there was a 63% chance that it was going to collide with Earth. First discovered in 1989 by French astronomer Christian Paulus and named after the Celtic god, this asteroid is approximately 2.5 kilometers in diameter. This asteroid is partially of concern due to the fact that it has quite a chaotic orbit and it frequently has close approaches to many planets, of course including Earth. In December of 2012, this asteroid passed within 18 lunar distances of Earth. In 2016, it made another close approach, and the next notably close approach of this asteroid is in 2069. In our number 5 spot today, we have 2008 DB. This is an asteroid that is said to be about the size of a school bus, and its orbit is one that crosses the orbit of Earth. This asteroid is definitely classified as being near Earth because of the fact that it is less than 1 astronomical unit away from Earth upon its closest approaches. This asteroid orbits the Sun, and it does so in a little longer than an Earth year, about every 395 days, so 1.08 years. One thing I found really interesting about this asteroid is that the way they were able to estimate its size was by how bright it is and how this asteroid reflects light. Science is just so fascinating. It is said that 2008 DB has 9 close approaches to Earth in the coming decades, so fingers crossed all goes well. In our number 4 spot today, we have 2014 HB177. This asteroid is quite similar to the last one. It is also around the size of a school bus, and it is an asteroid that is near Earth and often crosses with our orbit. This near-Earth asteroid actually had a relatively close pass by Earth just last year in 2021 when it came within 10 million kilometers of Earth. That sounds like a lot, but in space terms, it's really not that much. This asteroid orbits the Sun about every 430 days or 1.18 years, but it rotates on its own axis quite quickly, completing a rotation every 0.02 hours. The next close approach of this asteroid to Earth is coming on May 6th, 2034, when this asteroid will be 514,556 kilometers away from Earth, but it doesn't stop here. There are 7 upcoming dates, some of which are in our lifetime, that have been assessed as having an impact risk in these very close approach scenarios. The most risky right now is dated as May 3rd, 2085. In our number 3 spot today, we have 2010 RF12. This asteroid is one that orbits the Sun every 399 days or 1.09 years, and at its closest point, its orbit is startlingly close to Earth's. When this asteroid was first observed, it was actually thought to have the highest probability of striking Earth, but thankfully that number has since dropped in the last few years. Just recently, however, this asteroid had one close approach with Earth, passing at a distance of a little over 10 million kilometers. From now until 2095, there is thought to be 13 upcoming close approaches, with the final one being at the very small distance of 47,000 kilometers. Thankfully, the good news is that this asteroid is on the smaller size when it comes to asteroids, which means that should something go awry and this asteroid were to impact Earth, it likely wouldn't be the Earth-shattering, humanity-destroying asteroid that we all fear. In our number 2 spot today, we have 101955 Bennu. This asteroid was first discovered on September 11th, 1999, and it is a potentially hazardous object to us here on Earth. There is currently a 1 in 1,800 chance that this asteroid is going to impact Earth between 2178 and 2290. I know that's not really in our lifetime, but it's not very far off, and that's kind of frightening. The day that this asteroid has the greatest chance of impacting Earth is on September 24th, 2182. This asteroid was actually named after the ancient Egyptian mythological bird that is often associated with the sun, creation, and rebirth. We know more about this asteroid than many others because there was actually a mission to this asteroid in order to try and collect samples of it. On the 3rd of December 2008, the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft reached this asteroid after traveling to it for 2 years. Not only did it orbit it for a while to map it out and get its measurements, but in 2020 it landed on the asteroid, and last year in May of 2021 it departed from the asteroid carrying a sample of it. Maybe next year it will return to Earth and help us learn even more about the history of this asteroid. In our number 1 spot today, we have 2021 QM1. This asteroid was first discovered on August 28th, 2021, and at the time of its discovery it wasn't of much concern. but follow-up observations revealed something very different. It suddenly rang alarm bells that it might be on a path to a near miss with Earth around 2052. This asteroid is measured at about 50 meters in diameter, which is said to, should it impact Earth, be the equivalent of about 6 megatons of TNT or 400 times the strength of a nuclear bomb. Just not very good and very obviously of concern. To make all the nervous scientists more nervous, shortly after discovery, this asteroid disappeared behind the sun out of their view. They waited patiently and used the very large telescope as much as they could, and when the asteroid peeked out from behind the sun, they were ready, and it was then that they managed to capture an image of the faintest asteroid ever observed. This observation thankfully gave them some good news. This asteroid likely won't hit Earth in 2052, and for now, for the foreseeable future, it shouldn't be on a collision course with Earth. They of course are going to continue observing it though and checking in, just to make sure that continues to be the case. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have 1997XF11. We all know, or at least have heard, that the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid hitting Earth. If an asteroid were to hit Earth now, there is a good chance it would have a similar effect, but of course on humans. There have been dozens of asteroids that have nearly missed Earth, and a lot of them have been known and had their paths calculated beforehand to ensure our safety. But there have also been a lot of near misses that weren't seen until right before, or sometimes even after the asteroid had already passed. There were 5 near misses in 2020 alone. In 2028, this asteroid is going to come extremely close to hitting Earth, but as of right now, scientists believe that it will miss the planet. If this asteroid were to hit Earth, it would be a mile-wide asteroid hitting Earth at about 30,000 miles per hour, which is similar to a 1 million megaton bomb, which would most likely wipe out all of the life on Earth. So let's hope that doesn't happen, or maybe Elon Musk will be able to send us to Mars by 2028. In our number 9 spot today, we have 2022 AE1. Earlier this year, in January, as the year began, scientists were watching an asteroid dubbed 2022 AE1 that became the riskiest one observed in over a decade. The initial observations of this asteroid placed it impacting with Earth on roughly July 4th, 2023, which would mean that there would not be enough time to deflect it, and this asteroid was large enough to do some real damage should it strike an area. Yeah, it was most definitely a cause for concern. There was a week where the moon outshone this asteroid and experts weren't able to see it and continue tracking its path, but once the moon was out of this phase, the risk seemed to have diminished. As of now, this asteroid has been taken off the risk list, but who knows? It seems as though things can change quite quickly and unexpectedly outside of the cozy home and protection of our atmosphere. In our number 8 spot today, we have 99942 Apophis. This little asteroid has a diameter of about 1/5 of a mile, and it is currently sitting at number 3 on the Palermo scale. This is something that I'll probably refer to again today, so let's just talk about it real quick. The Palermo Technical Impact Scale is a scale that is used by astronomers to rate the potential risk and hazard of impact of a near-Earth object, or an NEO. It used the combined information and data of the probability of impact coupled with the estimated kinetic yield, which basically just shows us how likely and how badly an asteroid would mess us up, re the dinosaurs. So back to Apophis, this asteroid is at rank number 3, so it's the 3rd thing we gotta worry about. When it was discovered in 2004, astronomers gave it a 1 in 60 chance of striking Earth in May of 2029 on Friday the 13th of all days. If it doesn't strike Earth, with the naked eye we'll be able to see it pass at a distance of roughly 8,600 miles, but if it does strike Earth, we'll also be able to see it with the naked eye, just at a much closer distance. Because of how close this passing asteroid is going to be, if the asteroid passes us at a slightly different angle than current predictions, that is the possibility of a collision in 2036 or 2069. In our number 7 spot today, we have 2020 CD3. In February of 2020, astronomers found this asteroid, which is a tiny near-Earth asteroid or mini-moon that orbits the sun, but it does make really close approaches to our Earth-Moon system, and it can even temporarily enter Earth's orbit. It is the 2nd temporary satellite of Earth discovered in situ. Based on its trajectory, this asteroid was captured by Earth around 2016 or 2017, but it likely escaped the gravitational influence of Earth around May of 2020. Even the asteroid didn't want to stick around for the pandemic. 2020 CD3 is likely likely to make another close pass at Earth in 2044, but it hopefully won't be captured by Earth this time because of its greater approach distance. While this little thing is flying through space and it makes its nice little frequent visits to us, the good news is that it is relatively small in terms of asteroids, so it's not likely an imminent threat to humanity. In our number 6 spot today we have 153814 2001 WN5. This asteroid is classified as a small asteroid, but that does not mean that this thing is completely harmless. This asteroid has an orbit that passes that of Earth's, making it a near-Earth asteroid, but it is also a potentially hazardous one because of how close it can get. This asteroid orbits the Sun every 818 days or 2.24 years, and it gets as far away from the Sun as 2.51 astronomical units. Like I mentioned, this guy is classified as a small asteroid, but with a diameter of 0.9 kilometers, it is larger than about 97% of other small asteroids. It is said to be about the size of the Golden Gate Bridge, which is just absolutely insane to think about. The pass by the Earth that this asteroid is going to make that is the most concerning to scientists is going to happen on June 26th, 2028. Right now it is projected to be passing by at a distance of 248,700 kilometers, but when we're talking about a flying space object, that's getting a little too close for comfort. It is said that during this close approach, the asteroid will be visible with just binoculars.
2023 DW is an asteroid about the size of an Olympic swimming pool. It was spotted on February of 2023. NASA flagged March 14th, 2046 as a possible date of impact. At one point they gave it a 1 in 560 chance, which is not comforting. Since then the odds have dropped, but it's still being tracked very closely. If it were to hit, it wouldn't be a planet killer, but it would be bad, definitely enough to take out a city. The force would be similar to a few megatons of TNT. Because it was discovered so recently, scientists haven't had a ton of time to figure out its exact path, which is why it's still listed on the ESA and NASA's risk lists. They're constantly updating the data as they watch it move. With any luck, it'll miss us entirely, but it's close enough and soon enough, it's not something they're just brushing off. 2007 VK184 caused a bit of a stir when it first showed up. This one's about 130 meters wide, so roughly the size of a football field and then some. At one point, NASA gave it a 1 in 1,800 chance of hitting Earth on June 3rd of 2048. That's not something you ignore. An impact from an asteroid that size could wipe out an entire metro area and cause serious damage around it as well. Shockwaves, fires, a massive explosion in the sky, and depending on where it hits, possible tsunamis. For a while, it was high up on NASA's watch list, but as tracking data improved, the risk went down and eventually got removed altogether. That said, it's still flying around out there, and its orbit brings it close to Earth every few decades. So while it's off the worry list for now, it may not be forever. The thing with space rocks like this is that even a tiny nudge from something else, like gravity from a nearby planet or another close pass, could alter its path just enough to cause trouble later on. 2001 WN5 doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's coming really close in the not so distant future. It's just over 2,600 feet across, way bigger than most of the others we've mentioned. It's expected to pass by Earth in June of 2028, and it's going to come within 155,000 miles. That might sound far, but it's actually way closer than the moon. Close enough that you could possibly see this with binoculars. If it were to hit, we'd be in serious trouble. An object that big could cause destruction on a huge scale. Luckily, it's not expected to collide with us, at least not this time around, but because it's passing so close, scientists are keeping a very close eye on it. It's one of those rare chances to study a big asteroid up close without it, of course, hitting us. The other reason they're paying such close attention is because Earth's gravity might slightly change its orbit during the flyby, and if that happens, future passes could end up a lot more dangerous. Asteroid 2005 ED224. It was discovered in 2005 and is estimated to be between 37 and 83 meters in diameter, roughly the size of a plane or maybe a bit bigger. So not the biggest, but an object this size could still cause some serious problems. This asteroid got a bit of attention when it was flagged for future close approaches to Earth, and at one point it was briefly listed on NASA's Century Risk Table, which is a list of asteroids with very low but non-zero possibilities of hitting Earth. NASA and other space agencies are still tracking this asteroid as part of their broader planetary defense because it's relatively small, doesn't pose a global threat like some of the others on this list, but in the unlikely event that it does hit, it could cause a serious disaster depending on where. Asteroid 2024 YR4 showed up on NASA's radar in December of 2024. It's a smaller asteroid, somewhere between 130 and 300 feet wide, not extinction level, but big enough to wreck a city. Early data gave it a 3.1% chance of hitting Earth in 2032. In asteroid terms, that's unusually high. Scientists started watching it really closely, using every telescope they could point at it. Turns out it's not gonna hit us, at least not in 2032. They've gotten a better idea of its orbit and the odds have dropped, but it's not totally out of the picture. This thing is on a bit of a weird path, and Jupiter's gravity could throw it off course down the line. That's the part scientists are keeping an eye on. And if something changes and it does end up on a collision course, it could do serious damage, depending, of course, where it hits. Apophis is the asteroid that frightened a lot of people back in 2004 when it was first discovered. NASA gave it a 2.7% chance of hitting Earth in 2029. It was the first time an asteroid had been given a level 1 on the Torino scale, which is the system used to rate potential asteroid threats. There were even concerns about a possible impact in 2036, but updated tracking ruled both out. Still, Apophis is coming dangerously close. On April 13th, 2029, it'll pass just 19,000 miles from Earth. That's closer than a lot of satellites. People in parts of Europe, Africa, and Asia will actually be able to see it with the naked eye. Scientists are using the flyby as a test run. The European Space Agency is launching a mission to study it up close, and NASA wants to monitor any slight changes in its orbit caused by Earth's gravity. That's because future passes, especially in 2068, could be affected by this one. If Apophis gets nudged just the right way, it could line up for a much worse scenario down the road. So even though we're safe for now, it's staying on the watch list. 2010 RF-12 is a small asteroid. It's only 7 meters or about 23 feet in diameter. It was discovered on September 5th, 2010 by the Mount Lemmon survey in Arizona. Just 3 days later, it passed within 79,000 kilometers or about 49,000 miles of Earth, closer than the Moon's orbit. There's a 1 in 10 chance that it could collide with Earth on September 6th, 2095. So probably not in a lot of our lifetimes, but if you're a younger folk watching, there is a good chance. If RF-12 were to enter Earth's atmosphere, it's expected to break up in the atmosphere and explode in the sky, kind of like the Chelyabinsk meteor in Russia back in 2013. But that blast shattered windows and sent over 1,000 people to the hospital just from glass and debris. RF-12 is in that same size range, so it could do similar damage if it exploded over a populated area. The good news is the odds might change as we get better data on its orbit, plus by 2095 we may have left Earth altogether. Asteroid 2000 SG344 is roughly the size of a school bus. It's been on scientists' radar since 2000. There's a 1 in 1,000 chance it could collide with Earth on September 16th, 2071. If it were to enter Earth's atmosphere, the impact could release energy equivalent to about 1 megaton of TNT, similar to the Tunguska event in 1908, which just flattened this huge section of the Siberian forest. Odd thing about this one, some scientists think it might not be a natural asteroid. Its path is so similar to Earth's orbit that it might actually be a leftover rocket booster from one of the old Apollo missions. They're still not 100% sure. It'll pass close again in 2028, which could help scientists figure out exactly what it is and whether it's going to cause problems later down the road. Bennu is one of the scariest asteroids we know about. It's about 16,000 feet wide and was discovered back in 1999. NASA says there's a 1 in 2,700 chance it could hit Earth on September 24th, 2182. That's not a huge risk, but it's not nothing either. It's actually one of the highest impact risks they've found so far. If it did hit, it'd be bad. The force of over 1 billion tons of TNT bad. Just imagine that in a big city like Tokyo or New York. Yeah, millions would die. Because of that, NASA's been keeping a close eye on it for years. They even sent a spacecraft, OSIRIS-REx, to land on Bennu, grab a piece, and bring it back. That happened in 2023, and scientists have been going over the sample ever since. Turns out Bennu has a bunch of interesting stuff in it, like minerals that hold water. That tells us it's been around a long time, probably came from a bigger asteroid that broke apart. Even though it's not going to hit us anytime soon, Bennu is still being watched constantly. 1979 XB was discovered in 1979. It's huge, nearly 2,300 feet across, which is almost half a mile wide. If something like this ever hit Earth, it wouldn't just take out a city, it would cause mass destruction. There would be huge fires, tsunamis, the climate could change. This is the type of asteroid people imagine when they think of an end of the world one. You wouldn't think something this big would go missing, which is why it's so strange and honestly disturbing that we haven't seen it in decades. It was basically lost in space because telescopes at the time couldn't keep a solid lock on its orbit. That's changed a bit with newer tracking systems, but it still hasn't been seen up close again since its original discovery. What we do know is that it's on a path that brings it relatively close to Earth every so often, and its orbit crosses ours, which always makes scientists nervous. Right now, there's no confirmed impact threat in our lifetime, but that could change if it gets nudged by something else in space, or if the orbit just slightly shifts. At our number 5 spot, we have 1950 DA. This one is an absolute monster, a true cosmic threat. It was discovered way back on the 23rd of February in 1950 by Carl A. Wirtanen, and given the catchy name 29075 or 1950 DA. Researchers have been keeping a close eye on the cosmic beast ever since, sort of. NASA alarmingly lost sight of it for a while. There's a potential for some real destruction in this thing's wake. The odds of 1950 DA smacking into Earth are, at this point, not as cozy as we'd probably like. It's been calculated that there is a slim but existent chance, about 1 in 4,000, that this asteroid could make an unwelcome entrance in the coming years. A rock roughly 1 kilometer wide hurtling towards us. If this thing were to hit, we're talking about an impact that would make the dinosaur's demise seem like a picnic. The energy unleashed would be in the ballpark of 44,800 megatons of TNT. The good news, we still have some time to perfect our asteroid deflection technology. This next one has a cool name, 1979 XB. I just imagine 1979 being a really cool year, and anything with X in the title just automatically has that edge factor. It also sounds a bit like a car or something. The new 1979 XB. Anyway, this thing isn't actually cool if you value Earth's existence, that is. The asteroid known as 1979 XB has emerged as a cause for concern among experts because of its potential threat to the Earth. With the capability to release the energy equivalent to approximately 30 billion tons of TNT once it hits, this asteroid has got some real attention, even though it's been off the radar for around 4 decades. Observed for just a mere 3 or so days during its initial discovery, 1979 XB has proved elusive to further searches, even when conducted with more focused efforts. It's categorized as a near-Earth object and specifically identified as a potentially hazardous asteroid within the Apollo group. Its current trajectory raises concerns about a possible collision with the Earth, and there's this lack of recent data because of the extended period since its last observation. It just makes things kind of murky and uncertain, which is scary when it comes to a destructive mound of rock hurtling through space. Number 3, 2023 DW. A recently identified asteroid named 2023 DW is causing some concern as it may approach Earth closely in about 20 years with a roughly 1 in 600 chance of a direct collision. According to NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office, this space rock, measuring approximately 165 feet or 50 meters in diameter, was first detected on February 27th of 2023. It is anticipated to have a close encounter with Earth on February 14th, of 2046, with a risk level that has been calculated at 1 in 625 as of March 8th of this year. So these odds are constantly being reassessed. There's an elevated risk compared to typical near-Earth asteroids, but NASA is emphasizing that this represents a very small chance of impact. And the risk is anticipated to decrease as more precise observations of this asteroid's trajectory become available. So while a direct impact from this thing wouldn't be on the scale of the catastrophic asteroid that led to the extinction of the dinos, it could still cause substantial damage if it were to strike a densely populated area. NASA is actively working on planetary defense techniques, like the successful alteration of a small asteroid's trajectory through the Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or DART, mission for short. In at second place is 2022 AE1. Thought I'd throw a little levity into the list. At one point, this asteroid was seen as a huge threat, and now it's been knocked down to like a threat level of 1. There was said to be a chance this one was going to hit in July of 2023, and as we all know, we're here, so that thankfully did not happen. The asteroid was 230 feet wide and was discovered on January 7th of 2022. It looked as if it was on a one-way path to Earth, and the most alarming part was that it was going to hit too soon to carry out a deflection mission. A statement by the European Space Agency said the following at the time. In January of this year, we became aware of an asteroid with the highest ranking on the Palermo scale that we've seen in more than a decade. Astronomer Marco Micheli stated that it was the riskiest object he'd ever observed in his career. So if this thing were to hit, it would have caused damage on the same scale as Hiroshima in World War II, so things were not looking good. The object disappeared from view for 1 week because of the bright glow around the full moon. Fortunately, when NASA got their eyes on it again, it looked like things had changed for the better. Updated calculations showed that it was going to fly right past Earth, and thankfully it did. Finally, the winner of the asteroid that could blow us all up list goes to 2000 SG344. Alright, so it wouldn't blow all of us up, but it would cause damage around the size of the Tunguska event, so don't worry, still plenty of destruction. This asteroid was first observed in 2000 and has the 4th highest cumulative Palermo rating. Based on observations, there's about a 1 in 360 chance that this thing could collide with the Earth in the next 100 or so years. Again though, it's important to remember there's some very intelligent people keeping their eyes on these things, and the chances of an asteroid disaster on the same scale as the one that likely destroyed the dinosaurs is still highly unlikely. And we're starting things off at number 10 with Apophis. 99942 Apophis is a near-Earth asteroid that first grabbed attention in 2004 because of its potential to collide with our home. This space rock, which is roughly 340 meters in diameter, swings by our planet periodically, just to let us know that we're on a rock floating in the middle of a giant black void, surrounded by things that could exterminate us in seconds. The concern began when early observations suggested a small chance of a collision in 2029. Further observations ruled out a direct hit, but raised the possibility of a future impact in 2036. Now, luckily, more calculations have downgraded the risk considerably. The current consensus is that the chances of Apophis hitting Earth in 2036 or any time in the foreseeable future is extremely low. Still, scientists continue to monitor its trajectory, refining predictions and assessing the potential for an impact. Make sure, by the way, to stick around to the end of this video because I may or may not be doing a comment shout out. Yeah, we might be bringing those back. Next on the list we have Bennu. Bennu, officially designated as 101955 Bennu, is another asteroid that has captured the interest of scientists and fear in the public because of its potential impact threat. Measuring about 500 meters in diameter, Bennu is part of the Apollo group of asteroids, which means its orbit brings it close to Earth. Discovered in 1999, Bennu became a target for NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission, launched in 2016, with the primary goal of studying the asteroid and bringing a sample back to Earth. The concern about Bennu stems from its relatively high probability of impacting Earth in the near future, particularly around the year 2182. Current estimates suggest a 1 in 2,700 chance of a collision during that time frame, so the probability is thankfully very low, but the potential consequences of this thing smashing into the Earth would be huge because of how massive this space rock is. Understanding its characteristics is crucial for developing strategies to avoid any future threats. The OSIRIS-REx mission has given us some valuable data, and researchers continue to study Bennu's orbit. Number 8, 2009 FD, also known as 367943 Duende. This is a near-Earth asteroid that gained attention because of its close approach to our planet. It was discovered back in 2009. It's relatively small, with an estimated diameter of about 50 meters. It made a terrifyingly close approach on March 27th of 2009 though, hurtling within 64,000 kilometers or 40,000 miles of our planet. This event was particularly significant because it brought 2009 FD closer to Earth than the average distance to the moon. That is pretty close call. At our number 7 spot, we have 2007 FT3. NASA had warned about a potentially hazardous asteroid known as 2007 FT3, which was initially labeled as a lost asteroid as it slipped out of NASA's surveillance after its discovery in 2007. There's some concern about this one. This celestial body, which was once lost, is now back on the radar and poses a threat to Earth with an estimated collision chance of 1 in 11.5 million in October of 2024. Discovered more than a decade ago, 2007 FT3 has the potential to unleash an energy equivalent to a staggering 2.6 billion tons of TNT upon impact. The predicted date for a potential collision is most likely October 5th of 2024. Now, a 1 in 11.5 million chance, that is extremely low, but it would really suck if this thing hit. NASA has offered reassurance though, saying there would be a minimal probability of global harm, not ruling it out entirely though. Number 6, 2023 TL4. So this celestial troublemaker barged into our cosmic awareness not too long ago, and it's not exactly sending warm, fuzzy feelings our way. Pinpointed during observations spanning from October 8th to the 19th, in 2023, this space rock carries a razor-thin 0.00055% chance, roughly 1 in 181,000 odds of smashing into our beloved Earth. But before you start building a bunker in your backyard, because I know even with that low probability, at least one of you is going to, just relax a bit, because we're not talking about an imminent threat here. The potential cosmic collision may not actually happen until sometime between 2119 and 2121. So that gives us a pretty decent heads up, but let's just say the cosmic dice roll in favor of chaos. The impact could unleash an energy equivalent to a mind-blowing 7.5 billion tons of TNT. To put it bluntly, we'd be screwed. So scientists are keeping a watchful eye on this thing.
Asteroids are littered with compounds that make scientists uneasy. In multiple samples, including those from Ryugu, Bennu, and meteorite fragments from other asteroids, researchers have found complex organic molecules, including hydrocarbons and even structures resembling nucleobases, the chemical cousins of DNA's building blocks. The shocking thing is, these molecules weren't created by life. They formed through raw chemistry in space, under conditions of freezing cold, vacuum, and radiation. The discovery forces us to rethink life's origins. If the universe naturally produces DNA-like chemicals on lifeless rocks, then the step from chemistry to biology may be far easier than we thought. That's exciting, but also deeply unsettling. In yet another shocking twist, Ryugu's dust contained salt crystals embedded in its minerals. Not just random salts, but sodium and chlorine compounds that looks suspiciously like the same salts we find in Earth's oceans. To scientists, this suggests liquid water once flowed through Ryugu's parent body billions of years ago, and where there's liquid water, there's always the haunting possibility of habitability. What makes it even stranger is the implication that these tiny, dry asteroids may once have hosted miniature alien oceans deep inside them. Imagine a rock drifting through space with salty pockets of water sloshing around in its interior. These conditions conditions could have lasted for millions of years, giving complex chemistry time to evolve. While there's no evidence of actual life in these salty minerals, the idea that asteroid fragments may have once been tiny alien oceans definitely unsettled scientists. Another disturbing find came from Bennu's samples. Scientists analyzing the dust discovered radioactive isotopes that seemed far too fresh to be billions of years old. Normally, these isotopes would have decayed away long ago. Their presence suggested that Bennu had been exposed to ongoing processes that renewed or preserved them. One possibility is constant bombardment by high-energy cosmic rays, which can trigger nuclear reactions in rock. But another explanation is far stranger. These isotopes might be leftovers from violent nuclear processes in the earliest days of the solar system, events we don't fully understand. If small asteroids like Bennu are filled with unstable isotopes, they might also pose unknown hazards when they collide with Earth. These isotopes could release bursts of radiation or heat, adding an extra layer of danger to impacts. It's a reminder that asteroids are not just inert rocks drifting in space. They are active records of violent radioactive processes that shaped the early universe. In 2022, Japanese researchers studying Ryugu dust under electron microscopes noticed something deeply unsettling. The carbon-rich molecules they found didn't just clump randomly. Instead, some had organized themselves into spherical, bubble-like shapes that resembled primitive cell membranes. They weren't alive, but the structures looked disturbingly close to protocells, simple pre-life forms that scientists believe may have been the stepping stones toward biology. The discovery was chilling because it suggested the leap from chemistry to something resembling biology may not be rare at all. If these structures can self-assemble in the cold vacuum of space, then the early stages of life could be happening all over the universe, quietly, inside asteroids and comets. Some experts even speculated that these structures may represent false starts, protocells that never had the chance to evolve further. When scientists opened the sealed canister containing Bennu's dust in 2023, they were hit with another shocking surprise. Inside the minerals were tiny pockets of trapped gases, including carbon dioxide and nitrogen, that predate Earth itself. These gases have been locked away inside mineral pores for over 4 billion years, untouched by atmosphere or life. But the chemistry of the gases was nothing like what we're used to. Their ratios and signatures didn't match Earth's atmosphere, Mars, or even the Sun. They were completely alien, giving us a glimpse of what the early solar system actually smelled and tasted like. The ingredients for atmospheres and possibly for life may vary wildly across different worlds. The last disturbing discovery wasn't a chemical or a gas, but scars written directly into the rocks themselves. When researchers scanned samples from both Ryugu and Bennu, they found shock veins, fractures, and impact scars that could only come from catastrophic collisions. These asteroids weren't formed peacefully. They were shattered, reassembled, and shattered again. The leftover fragments of violent impacts that shook the early solar system. Scientists worry that because of their fractured rubble pile nature, asteroids like Bennu may be harder to deflect if one ever comes our way. Instead of being a solid rock you could push off course, they're loose collections of unstable debris that could break apart and still hit us. The samples revealed that these aren't harmless little space pebbles. They're ticking time bombs carrying the scars of ancient disasters, and they might one day bring that disaster to us.